Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Michael Matt, and this is the Remnant Underground. Welcome to the Christophobic mobocracy in America, where with persecution rising all around us, the Christian voter now has been reduced to violating his own conscience just to mitigate the threat of greater government persecution. That's what's going on here in the land of the free and home of the brave. And so everybody's asking each other, how are you going to vote? How are you going to vote in November? You know what? I'm just old enough to remember when that was kind of a private thing. You know, my parents used to vote. They'd kind of keep it to themselves. You wait till the night before you vote, before you decide what you're going to do based on your conscience. That's the way it is. That's the way it used to be before social media made us all go nuts. It's none of my business how you're going to vote. Look, friends, I'm going to say this. I'm just going to cut right to the chase, so that we can stop the circular firing squad, which is tearing everybody apart right now. They are tearing us apart. It's got to stop. So I just want to ask you to think one thing as we get started, to consider one thing. I have absolutely nothing to gain from coming out here once again and talking about this election. On the other hand, I've got everything to lose, right? I understand the fervor. They've got the power of the media. I know I'm on my own. Hardly anybody's saying anything. You either love Trump or you hate him, right? There's nothing right in the middle, but I think there is a place for the middle. I think we need to be in the middle, and I think we need to have a conversation, right? I've been saying this for a long time, a couple of months now, you know? And I actually really do care about you. Otherwise, why would I do this? I care about this movement. I care about what happens to us, you know? Maybe it's just in my blood. I think I told you before that during World War II, my own grandfather, Joseph Matt, was condemned, right, by the Soviets in the pages of Pravda, no less, while his newspaper, our family newspaper, The Wanderer, was also banned from being mailed into Germany by the Nazis, right? We're kind of in a similar place right now. Somewhere in the middle is where the conversation means the most, right? And here's the thing, friend. Here's the thing that I think we can all agree on. This, as I've been saying, well, not only for months, for years, we are engaged in a spiritual war. Lots of people are saying this now. I can keep mentioning people like Candace Owens. I'm going to have a quote from her in a moment. Tucker Carlson. Lots of folks are aware of this, not just holy people, not just Catholic people or priests, nuns, right? Lots of people are saying it. It's a spiritual war. And here's the problem, friends. And this is why we have to have this conversation. Because they're weaponizing fear, aren't they? Fear of what's going to happen in November, causing us to drop the most important defense we have. And they're also doing the same thing to Donald Trump, aren't they? I told you before, he's not a theologian. And his little inside the Beltway pundits, his Frank Luntz style pollsters, what are they doing? They're telling him, Donald, man, the way you're going to win is if you remove the spiritual weapons. Those are political losers. Well, for somebody who believes we're absolutely engaged in a holy war against principalities and powers, to see the one guy that might, and actually in the past did, take a little bit of a dent out of these demons, to see him saying, okay, we got to surrender. We got to surrender the weapons, the spiritual weapons. Well, this is a horrifying moment. My father used to talk about his family over in Germany when Austria fell to the Nazis. It was just this horrifying moment. Like, oh, no, don't. What's happening now? Now what? Right? That's how it feels right now. And the thing is, what makes it so, to me, so frustrating is that I know none of us believe in the polls. But if you look at Donald Trump's face right now, I think you see fear. I think a lot of people, including Team Trump, realize there's a good chance he's going to lose. The polls are going in the wrong directions. I'm talking about the national polls. I don't believe them either. But as I said in the past, he needs a landslide to beat the cheat. That doesn't seem to be happening, and we're running out of time. You see what the problem is here? Nobody is questioning that Kamala Harris and my governor, Tim Walz, are psychotic Marxists who want to lock us all down. Nobody's questioning that. And I've been saying to friends of mine lately to try to make them see the point here. Even if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz said they were going to throw my whole family in prison on November 7th, I wouldn't change what I'm saying right now. We don't get to say, well, I'm going to do something wrong just to save my skin, just because it's going to be so much worse, right? Under this administration, right? We have to do the right things as best as we know how. I need you. You need me. We need to talk about this. Because this is huge. This is so much bigger than one election. And here's what I mean. This is a holy war. Being pro-life at a time like this means being pro-God. And that is it's non-negotiable for us. I don't expect Donald Trump to understand that, friends. We never have expected that. But I expect you to understand that. I expect you to understand the importance of holding together a militia for God, for Christ, for the Blessed Mother at a time like this when we are going straight into the teeth of demons in this country and throughout the whole world. We need to stay on the same page. We need to understand the importance of the spiritual firepower, the spiritual weaponry, even if these politicians don't. You see? In terms of my humanity, my children, my homeschool, my business, of course, I want Donald Trump to win. Of course, it's going to be better for me personally. But I can't lobby for that victory of Donald Trump's at all costs. And if Trump loses, we are the ones who are going to suffer for a long time. He's a billionaire. He's going to go on down to Mar-a-Lago. He'll be fine. We have to deal with the fallout if he loses on this compromise of the movement of pro-God, pro-family, pro-life, which is our best political defense in this country. If he loses, we are the ones that have to live with that consequence, that dire consequence. That for the first time in 40 years in this country, the United States of America will no longer have a political party committed to protecting the basic right to life of the unborn. That's what's at stake. They're removing it. What happens to us after we agree to that, especially if they lose, which looks like a very real possibility right now? Friends, the long war is going to have to go on after Trump. And if I'm wrong, who cares? It doesn't matter. We don't have enough power here to change the election. We may have enough power with the help of our allies in the pro-life movement in this country to convince Donald Trump to change the direction of this thing, to turn around, to do an about-face, and possibly to win. I've already predicted that. I think as these polls continue to go in the wrong direction nationally, there's every chance that Donald Trump's going to say, okay, wait a minute. Where are those pro-life guys? Let's bring them back in here. What we're going to do with that when he flip-flops, I don't know. I don't care. But we'll have an easier moral decision to make if that happens. So if I'm wrong, y'all are going to win anyway. Right? Who cares? I really don't have enough power to change the course of the election, right? So who cares? But if I'm right, there's going to be a massive price to pay, for all of us to pay, for our children to pay, for having allowed them to take down the pro-life political force in this country. To remove that is an affront to Almighty God. And it's running a little thin right now, don't you think? Our good grace with Almighty God, considering what we're doing to children, what we're doing to babies, what the rot that we are exporting all over the world. Is America even worth saving anymore? I don't know. But you get rid of the pro-life movement in this country as a political force, I wonder what excuse God will have for saving us. Why will God bless America if that happens? But either way, there's no real serious reason why we shouldn't stand right now for pro-life in this political season, where there still is some time. Because think about it, if Trump wins, if he wins in November, after having essentially abandoned the entire pro-life political movement, the political force, obviously the pro-life, pro-family, pro-God movement in this country will have become a political liability for every conservative politician from now on. Christian Americans will have become essentially politically homeless. And you know what? I've been traveling to Europe for a long time because of the Sharp pilgrimage. I've watched what's happened to France, for example, America is on the verge right now of becoming just like France. Sterile and Christophobic. Powerful underground religiosity and spirituality. The traditional Catholic movement in France is power underground. Everything in politics, everything above is sterile and Christophobic, like you wouldn't believe, right? That's going to happen to us. I've spoken to my French friends over the years. They're positively envious. They have tears in their eyes when they see, for example, the Right to Life March in January in this country with hundreds of thousands of people. They can't believe what we have here. Political force, political power to try to do something for the good, the true, and the beautiful, to defend the unborn. They can't believe it in France. Right? We're getting ready to throw all that away. And if that happens, the wrath of God will be upon us. Think about it, man. I mean, I'm a graduate of Christendom College, pro-life there. I mean, that was such an important thing to those young kids out there when I was in school, still is. A lot of these small schools, universities, that's it, man. That's so important. Well, in the future, if this continues, if we don't do something, there's going to be no reason for those kids to get up and go to the mall, jump in the vans and drive all the way down to D.C., right? To stand with the political politicians on the mall, to stand with the babies, to do a beautiful thing for life and for God. There'll be no reason for it, friends. It'll be over. And certainly no reason at all for politicians to distinguish themselves by being pro-life. That's what's at stake right now. You see, long term, not just November. No political protection for the unborn in America. This might be the one thing about this country that has prevented us from the divine chastisement we so richly deserve, that we have a strong pro-life movement. There is so much more at stake right now, in other words, than just one election in November. And it's so shocking when I hear good people say, well, it's going to be so bad, we have to do this. We have to become supporters of the abortion pill. We got to get the guys in there because otherwise terrible things are going to happen to us. Really? The people who extol the Cristeros, who extol the Vendéans, who extol the example of the martyrs are saying we have to do this, we have to kill babies so something bad doesn't happen to us. Do you remember how this series of videos started out a few weeks ago? You remember what I said? When the Son of Man returns, will he find faith? That's what we're losing here if we don't wake up. People say, yeah, well, if Cammie Harris wins, man, it's all over. So stop, just valet park your high horse and just vote for Trump so that she doesn't win because she's much worse. She is. But is it all over? Is it all over? We're part of the remnant. We remember when there was no traditional Latin masses, no political representation, when everything was pretty bleak, and we kept on fighting. We tell the stories of people who, humanly speaking, had lost the war at Lepanto, right? They lost the war in the Cristeros down in Mexico, Guadalajara, right? They lost the war in Western France. That didn't make them stop fighting. So is it all over if this idiot, I don't mean to say she's an idiot. I mean, there's not a lot going on up here, right, with Kamala Harris. We've seen that time and time again. So what happened to you? When did you come to believe that this was an indomitable force that we simply have to apostatize over because we cannot beat her? When did this happen? Do you know when it happened? When the media got busy convincing you that that was the case. When they weaponized your fear. Just like they weaponized COVID and got us to do crazy things because we were so afraid. So yeah, maybe it's over, or maybe the war heats up. Look, Kamala Harris is already a known entity. This foolish governor of mine, Tim Walz, already a known entity. And what have they done? They've inspired huge resistance, all the way from powerful people like Elon Musk down to Robert Kennedy's defecting from the party, right? That's going to continue. The fight will go on. I remember not so long ago, just a few weeks ago, when Kamala Harris was a punchline and was the lowest rated vice president in U.S. history. Do you remember that? Wasn't long ago. Well, then the media, again, weaponized fear of her, just as they weaponized COVID, as I say, and suddenly this insufferable little daughter of a Marxist has morphed into Cleopatra the Great and the Powerful. How did they do that in just a few weeks? You know? While we, on the other hand, are so insecure, we consider ourselves the children of light. We want to be the children of light. We want to be soldiers of Jesus Christ, proclaimers of the kingship of Jesus Christ, right? But we don't seem to have any confidence that we just simply need to stand up and fight back right now. Before November, right? We got this petition over at the Remnant. Go sign it. Why not? Do yourself a favor. If you're going to vote for Trump or not, at least register your complaint, your protest. So go sign the petition. The link is right down here. Mr. Trump, stop this. Ignore these retarded pundits and Beltway pollsters, and for God's sake, come back to life. This is about survival, friends, of your survival, the survival of our country. So you say that Trump is the one that can save? Okay, fine, then tell him to stop this, because he will lose if he doesn't. I mean, heck, the Democrats changed their candidate just a few weeks ago. Surely the Republicans can restore the right to life to their platform now, a month out, and try to recoup some of the magic and the unity that gave them a victory in 2016. Surely they can try. I watch Trump's emails every day, waiting for just one of them to say, we are pro-life. We want your vote. We love the pro-life movement, right? Just one of Trump's emails. Nothing. Day after day after day. It's like he really and truly has been convinced to cut us out completely. If that's the way they want it, well then to hell with them. Because we will not betray God, friends. We will not betray the unborn in some failed bid to save ourselves from Kamala Harris. Think of it. In a few weeks' time, the mighty United States of America, citizens of this country, are going to go to the polls to vote for leaders who believe that in order to become president of the most powerful nation on earth, you just got to kill the babies. What did the babies do wrong? What is wrong with us? If that's the only way that we can win, to slaughter babies and spill their blood, then maybe, as Matt Walsh said, and I agree with him, maybe this country is not worth saving. But in any case, when both parties began talking this way all of a sudden, you really have to ask yourself as an American, where's the American Christian outrage? Where are the American Catholic bishops, for example? What are they doing? Worried about a fundraiser? Is that what they're doing? Worried about maybe reaching out to the other, right? Coming over the borders illegally? How about our good and holy Father? For heaven's sakes, where is he? Oh, that's right. Here's where he is.
E si deve scegliere il male minore. Chi è il male minore? Quella signora o quel signore? Non so, ognuno in coscienza pensi e faccia questo. Ambedue sono contro la vita, sia quello che butta via i migranti, sia quello che uccide i bambini. Ambedue sono contro la vita.
I mean, is he trolling us? I know he's a Jesuit, modern Jesuit, but even he can't be that clueless, right? He actually thinks the lesser of two evils is about something other than what we're all talking about, whether or not Christian Americans can vote for a guy who will kill some of the babies in order to protect themselves from the Marxist who wants to kill all of them. Haven't heard about this, Francis, at all? I know you're busy. And again, friends, like it or not, Trump listening to these pollsters of his, these advisors who've convinced him to turn on the pro-life movement, he supports the abortion pill.
As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion pill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it.
Now that's what they've been saying over and over again, friends. This is why this is such a revolution. This is so avant-garde. We always had our reservations about the rape and incest life of the mother, exceptions. But now they're actually saying, yes, we support abortion pills. That's the game changer. That's the big game changer. That's where the lesser of two evil arguments, as far as I'm concerned, falls flat on its face. That's to say nothing of the fact that Trump also says he actually does not want to ban abortions, even if he could.
And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, do we all hear that? I am not in favor of an abortion ban. Lots of our people have been skipping over that part of last week's debate. So I'm not in favor of it. Why not, Mr. President? Why not? You're a law and order guy. Do you want to know why the kids of America are out there killing each other in the streets in record numbers? You want to know why? It's because their mommies killed their baby sisters. It's because their uncles financed the abortions that killed their baby cousins, right? And when that happens, it's only a matter of time before we start killing each other in the streets, exactly as we're doing right now.
The greatest destroyer of peace today is the cry of the innocent, unborn child. If a mother can murder her own child in her own womb, what is left for you and for me to kill each other?
There it is. What is left for you and for me but to kill each other? This is Mother Teresa a long time ago, but it's more true now than it's ever been. Because things are getting so evil, so out of control. So what is happening to America that we can't even see this? What is happening to America where even the pro-life movement is like, yeah, I guess we're going to have to kill a few. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to get in on that, do some baby killing here, but not as much baby killing as the other guys. That's how low the bar has gone, has fallen. Friends, meantime, while that's happening, in order for us to protect ourselves and save ourselves from communists in November, we're letting it go, man. We're losing control. This country is becoming literally a nation of pagans.
What is something weird about conservatives?
There is almost a cultish vibe, I feel. The way they operate within themselves, they refuse to listen to outside people, they're refusing to learn, essentially. I think that is...
That's enough of that, Walter. I don't even know what I'm looking at there. That's that sort of thing is going on in the streets of America. And Pope Francis is out there saying all religions basically go to the happy place, but the main concern is climate change. How did we get here? Well, I would say that first it started when we started tearing the statues of Jesus Christ and his saints, his Blessed Mother, out of the Catholic churches when I was a kid. That's where it started. Pretty soon we worked up to tearing down statues of Christian heroes from our public squares. And now, what do you know? The old pagan gods are rising up right where the crosses were once planted by Christian missionaries. What are we looking at here? This is the Hindu deity, Lord Hanuman, consecrated on August 8th, 2024. You may say, where's that? Well, is it in India, Mumbai, Delhi, Dry Sugar Land, Texas? That's what you're looking at right now. Coming in at a whopping 90 feet tall, Lord Hanuman is now the third tallest statue in North America and the tallest statue in Texas. We are becoming a pagan country, and we're putting statues up to prove it. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is America even worth saving when that's going on, And it's not just here. This is happening everywhere.
Hello, Pastor Chris Wickland here, and I just want to quickly talk about why we need house churches and houses of prayer at this hour. I believe the church within the UK is now at a tipping point of its own demise, And if there's nothing done to stop the rotten decay now, Christianity could well be in a catastrophic decline in around 10 years' time. Many churches are currently infected with woke ideologies, including LGBTQ, gender ideology, critical race theory, and climate change, to mention but a few.
Well, this guy is all worked up about that, rightfully so, while our guy over there in Rome says, doesn't really even matter anymore.
Because every religion is a way to arrive at God. There's only one God, and each of us is a language, so to speak, in order to arrive at God.
Qualcuno è Sikh, qualcuno musulmano, qualcuno
Sikh, Muslim,
Hindi, qualcuno cristiano,
Indo,
ma sono
Christian.
diversi cammini.
There are different paths.
Understood?
Wow. Now that's heresy, of course. I'm sure those fat bald guys on YouTube are going to assure us that the church always taught heresy like that, so we're not worrying about it. Sure, St. Paul, the apostle to the Gentiles, said that the gods of the pagans are devils, but 1 Corinthians is ambiguous. They'll tell us, right? And while those fat guys on YouTube pope-splain ad nauseum, Christians here at home and all around the world face real persecution, right here in America too, because of a certain refusal to pull our heads out of the sand as to what's really going on.
This is happening. We're living in a post-Christian society. Christianity is not going to be the dominant force in the public life of America moving forward, as it has been, as I said, for most of our history. We're going to become a pagan country. And that means that Christians are going to become a persecuted minority, as they always have been in pagan societies.
Well, wouldn't you say that we're already really kind of there? It's not as bad as it probably will be, but we're already there. Look, if you're pro-life, you're toast.
And in the middle of all this, incredibly, Donald J. Trump says that his big concern is anti-Semitism. Because what he wants to do now is make Israel great again.
We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to make them both great again, greater than ever before. We've gathered today to talk about the scourge of anti-Semitism tonight.
And this kind of goes back to my earlier point. You think this stuff is working? I don't. I really don't. I mean, even in that speech, he says that if he loses, it's going to be the Jews' fault.
In my opinion, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with a loss. If I'm at 40%, if I'm at 4%, think of it. That means 60% are voting for Kamala, who in particular is a bad Democrat.
This is absolutely incredible. Again, who is advising you? Who is advising Donald Trump? Who's the genius who decided it was a good idea to ditch the 44% majority group of pro-lifers in this country, and get that in a minute, ditch those guys, and then badger minority groups to vote for you, or else? That's the strategy? That's the reason I'm supposed to put my whole Christian pro-life position on hold here? And after this little Marxist, Kamala Harris beats Donald Trump because of terrible advice and strategy, in my opinion, then what happens? What happens to us after we let the GOP dismantle Christian America's entire defense mechanism, the pro-life, pro-family, pro-God movement? What happens then? Because that's exactly what they're doing. Have you actually read the 2024 Republican Party platform? The 2016 platform mentions God 15 times. The 2024 Republican platform mentions him twice. The 2016 platform has 9 powerful statements in defense of the unborn. The 2024 platform removes virtually all of the 2016 pro-life language, including the explicit application of the 14th Amendment to the unborn, and then goes on to positively mention birth control and IVF. The 2016 platform defines marriage as, wait for it, between one man and one woman. The 2024 platform drops any definition of marriage at all. So while we're all quivering in our little boomer boots over this Marxist chick, the good guys get to nix the right to life plank from the last remaining Christian-friendly political platform, political party in this country. And why is this happening? Again, pro-life is not a losing political issue. It just isn't. I know they're saying that it is. They're telling him that it is, but it isn't. Even late-night comedians know it's not. Look at how they're mocking the stupid illogic of the pro-abort enlightened ones on late-night TV.
However, I still think you're killing a baby. See? That's where it gets weird. It's not a baby yet. That's what they say, which may or may not be true. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you, my gut tells me that doesn't make sense. It's not a baby yet. That would be like if I was making a cake and I poured some batter in a pan and I put it in the oven, and then 5 minutes later you came by and you grabbed the pan, you threw it across the floor, and I went, what the f***, you just ruined my birthday cake? And then you were like, well, that wasn't a cake yet. It's like, well, it would have been. If you didn't do what you just did, there would have been a cake in 50 minutes. Something happened to that cake, you cake murdering son of a right?
You can see, obviously, this guy is not a daily communicator. He's not a radical traditionalist. I think Walter had to bleep out the Effenheimers, in fact. But it makes the point. Everybody can see this. Why are we abandoning the pro-life position just at the moment when so many people are waking up to it? You know, in 2023, roughly half of our country here, 44% of all Americans still claim to be pro-life. In response to this question was, quote, do you oppose abortion altogether or should it be left up to the mother? 44% answered in the pro-life affirmative, right? 44%. So that means 44% of American voters right now are being thrown under the bus for some reason. Can you imagine if you walked up to a politician and said, well, we can get you 44% of the country, sir, if you want to try for that. And you're like, nah, only 44? Nah. It's absurd. So why are they doing this? What's the purpose? And again, they're going to lose if they continue to do this, which is why we need to stand up right now and start screaming at Team Trump and his stupid advisors to go back to the basics, and stop with this insane Operation Abort Speed bit. Knock it off. This is nuts. There may still be time to turn this around if we turn back to the spiritual weaponry, if we turn back to Christ the King, if we turn back to God, if you prefer. If you can't handle the social kingship of Jesus Christ, just turn back to God. It's what gave you the thing in 2016. Remember Donald Trump Christmas? We celebrate the birthday of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Do you remember that? Go back to it. This is a holy war. And the fact is, friends, we cannot betray the unborn just to save our assets in November. We can't do it.
Yeah, well, it's one of the reasons why I was baptized Catholic. I think they've been holding a candle for a very long time. It's why Catholics are so hated. And even that was a very careful, evil operation to dissuade, and I'm speaking about America, but obviously also in the UK, to dissuade the West against the Catholic Church because they know real history. They've been keeping it for thousands of years. And yes, it has always been a holy war.
And I just really don't have a whole lot of time for people who want to say, Candace isn't this, Candace isn't that, stay away from Candace. Shut up. Candace Owens, by the way, will be speaking this coming weekend at the Catholic Identity Conference. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait. The theme for this CIC this weekend, it's in a few days now, the theme is, and he shall reign, restoring all things in Christ the King. I'm so grateful to God for the providential decision. I don't even know exactly who came up with that theme, but it's just perfect for what's going on in the world right now. It's going to be all about proclaiming the social kingship of Jesus Christ, the only thing that actually matters, you know? And what do you know? Even with that theme, as controversial as it is, the CIC sold out months and months ago. But the good news is the live stream, the signups are coming in from all over the world, friends. We have a chance to really make this a shot heard around the world. Let's make sure the Vatican hears about this. Let's make sure everybody hears about this. The traditional Catholics are coming together with powerful people to proclaim the kingship of Jesus Christ. Doesn't that just feel great? That's exactly what's going to happen. That's the message that we're going to send, that no matter what happens now or in November or in January, no matter what happens, Christ is king. And we, those who proclaim his kingship, will not back down, will not be brainwashed, right? We're good at that, aren't we? We didn't wear the mask during COVID. We never got jabbed. We will never back down, right? even when they call us really bad names and throw us off YouTube.
And there's only so many articles you can write calling everybody a Nazi apologist and a racist and a homophobe and a transphobe, and it's not landing anymore.
I just think it's so great that after all the hateful retaliation Candace Owens suffered for saying initially Christ is King, that her talk at the Catholic Identity Conference this coming weekend again is, wait for it, Christ is King. 3 words that changed my life forever. Friends, you want a sign from God? There it is. In other words, Candace Owens is not backing down, and neither are we. So do me a favor, sign up for the Catholic Identity Conference live stream right now, and let's make it clear. If we Christians don't make our voices heard right now, we stand to lose everything. We stand to lose so much more, certainly, than a mere election. We stand to lose a sense, a Catholic sense. We used to call it the sensus catholicus. We're going to lose a sense of who and what we are. You see? We stand to lose our nation in this holy war. We stand to lose our children by taking a crusade away from them. We stand to lose our dignity as confirmed soldiers of Jesus Christ. And we can avoid all that. It doesn't have to happen. Again, we are political orphans as soldiers and children of God, right? Soldiers of Jesus Christ, children of God. And you know what? I'll close on this because this is very near and dear to my heart, very personal. Our children, as Catholics, our children have already been robbed of the Catholic crusade. You saw at the top of the show, Pope Francis saying, hey, what the hell? It doesn't even matter what religion you are. They're all paths to the happy place, right? We cannot rob our children of the pro-life crusade as well. And that's what's going to happen here. When I was a child, modernists rode in on this Trojan horse called the Spirit of Vatican II and spiritually castrated Catholics all over the world. Entire generations of my school, my classmates, my friends, our neighbors, right, grew up then with no sense of the crusade. See, my father, guys like Michael Davies, guys like Archbishop Lefebvre, God bless them all, they gave us the crusade, and that's the only reason I'm sitting here right now. They gave us the crusade. Fight for this, they said. And as young people, we were so inspired, we couldn't wait to join the crusade, right? They gave it to us. But the Catholic Church as a whole lost its children, right? Which meant it lost its future. And so now it's not a surprise at all when even the Pope is out there saying to the world, hey, you know what? It doesn't even matter if you're Catholic. Who cares? Whatever. All religions are paths to God. Really, holiness? Which God would that be? The God of surprises? If all religions are true, your holiness, then none of them are true. Any child can see that, and every child has, thanks to you and your modernist friends. And that spirit is exactly how they castrated the Catholic world, by killing the Crusader and now propping up the climate change activists. God help us. And now, the thing is, the globalists, they want to do the exact same thing that a little bit of Christian counter-revolution that was left in social conservatism in America. The bit that was left. They're not satisfied until they eradicate all of it. So what do they want to do? Kill the pro-life movement. Cancel the pro-lifer. Cancel that last crusade. A crusade that gave young Americans something to believe in, something real, something that inspired them to want to earn the right to stand with the children of light. Right? To shoot for something more noble, to defend little babies. Take that away from them. Make them start hacking up their own bodies in despair like everybody else is doing. Don't you see what's happening here, friends? Don't you see what we stand to lose? What our kids are going to lose? We're being totally demoralized right now in the name of saving our assets in November. Don't let them get you. They're worse. Take away the crusade. If we let them take away the pro-life crusade, there will be nothing left in this country to fight for. They already destroyed the family. They already banned God from school. They already outlawed prayer. There will be nothing left, nothing to live for. There will be no martyrs because there will be no faith worth dying for. So if you want a future for your children, defend the right to life right now. Go out in the street. Make a promise. You will not abandon them. You will not give up on them. We must let our children see us fighting to the death, at least for life. We want God to bless America. We have no choice. We need to speak out now for the unborn Americans who have no voice. If we want peace, we need to boldly proclaim the social kingship of Jesus Christ. Christ is King. Do that, friends, and the demons will have no power over you, no power over your children, no power over any of us. Fail to do that, and those same demons will lock us down in the hell on earth that is a broken covenant with Almighty God. Stay with God, and He'll stay with us. Abandon God, and we're on our own. And there's no greater evil in the world today than that.